Welcome. I'm Sara Magliacane Phillip Lippe. First, I wanted to thank the organizers for inviting me. This is my first CVPR. I'm more of a theoretical causality person, so I'm hoping that maybe the CVPR experience will give me some kind of idea of how to use some kind of new theory that could be applied to the reality. And I'm going to talk about causal representation learning for every research. So, so first I'll talk about temporal settings. So what I mean about temporal settings is mostly time series data, and specifically time series oscillating intervention analysis. And if you want to learn what causes what, it seems that temporal settings will be a pretty natural setting for learning from the intervention reaction, because we have visualized before, reaction, and the output. And so examples of temporal settings I'm considering are like sequential discipline, for example, reinforcement learning, robotics, etc. So in the context of this workshop. And often we may want to have we have a sequence of videos or images, and we may want to extract some semantic features from the videos in an unsupervised way. And so all of the people who found this workshop already mentioned relative different ways to extract some semantic features from images. I'm going to focus on a specific one, which is called Causal Representation Learning, or CRL. And in this case, what we're trying to do is we're trying to learn high-level causal variables and their causal relation between them from low-level observations, for example, synchronicity. So just to give you an idea of how this usually works, in causality, very often we use graphs to model causal relations. And then in that case, we have some variables, which are the nodes, and some edges, which model the relations. One way to model time series, a classical way would be dynamic Bayesian networks. And so this is an extension of Bayesian networks, which is a statistical graphical model through a template graph. And some of the common assumptions of dynamic Bayesian networks are, for example, the one mapping assumption, in which we have the only variables are the times t minus 1, the variables are times t. Stationarity, so the edges or the transition model is the same across each pair of time steps. And the last of instantaneous effect, so that we don't have edges between variables at the same time. And then we can have something in the graph here, in which we have the variables are times t minus 1 here, the variables are times t here, and the edges represent the constellation. And this graph can be unrolled in time such that this structure is all the pairs of different time. And just to give you an idea, I'm sure you know about mapping decision processes or faster mapping decision processes in a special setting. So this is a typical example of the manipulation of the. So in causal representation learning in temporal settings, our goal would be to learn essentially a dynamic Bayesian network in which the nodes represent the causal variables and the edges represent the relations between them from the video. The sequence of images an agent doing some interaction. So this is the tutorial environment, and here you do interactions like we do in different things. So we have this video, and our goal would be by without any labels, how can we learn, let's say the causal model before and the different states of the component. So this would be, for example, the argument of an object. So this is what we want. But I have to already keep the expectations low. So in general, in terms of representation learning, we are very concerned with guarantees. So we care about the stability guarantees. So we work with these tools that we can identify images. And so these theoretical guarantees have different sets of assumptions under which it was proved that we can identify data. But in general, without any supervision, we cannot identify the results from the values. Because, for example, if you think about it, you cannot identify them in the case without size. So instead, you can identify them to some equivalence class, to after some transformations. Here are two examples of what we can identify. So let's say we have the causal variables 1 and 2, 3, and then we have the ones here, which are the combinations, which are the Z1 the Z2, that are the impact. What we can do for certain methods is that we can identify variables up to component-wise transformations. In a sense, we can have them real time. And we just need to learn these component-wise transformations of each variable to learn. We can learn later to enable the transformations. but each variable is independent from the other. So usually in these entanglements, we have the variables that are independent from each other, so that's the capital setting. The Causal Representation Learning uses this setting to the fact that we have dependencies between them, but we still want to learn the representation. So one strong version of identifiability is this one of the component validation. Another one is also that we don't know the permutation, so we don't know the real one, for example, the possible the two, etc. So we also want to learn the permutation. So these are the typical types of results we get from representation learning. So now I'm going to talk about some of our work. And first, I'll introduce a bit the assumptions that we have in our environment. So there will be a lot of graphs and a lot of proof, but then I'll also show you actually how the experiments here and the practical results with them. So I'll start with this work in which we have defined temporal interleaved sequences for space. So this is the graphical representation of this work for the setting. So we start with a sequence of images and T. So here, T of that is T plus 1. So we have big T images in a sequence. We assume that these images are generated from K latent causal factors. So C1, FMP, C2, FMP, etc. to CK FMP. And so this comes FMP will the observation of speech, possibly with some modification. And so these variables cannot be mentioned and try to learn variables, so we can convert and we have some dimension variables as well as the temporal conservation. Then in addition, in this setting, we assume conditional labels. So we didn't have only the images, but we also have access to a set of intervention values. I1, T plus 1, I2, T plus 1, etc. So one for each causal variable. So for each of the K causal variables. And so these intervention variables were binary variables. And what they were representing? They were representing within one variable in each tensor every domain in another way preserved in the specific image. So it wasn't following the natural dynamics, but we were preserving it. And so there are two ways to define the interventions. One is soft intervention, which is just means the transition between the previous tensor and the current tensor in the variable. The function changes. And the other one is the perfect intervention, which means that you start the variable to give us static value. So these were the different settings we were considering. So in this setting, we proposed in this work, C3, causal identifiability in temporal interleaved sequences. We proposed this architecture. And so this is also where this multiple people, including Phillip and Sara here and others. And so in this work, the idea was we proposed the idea of architecture. We used the normalized architecture, but we focused on this one first. And so the input to the architecture was we have the image, FNP, the image, FNP plus 1, and the vector of intervention target. The binary vector is themselves, for example, the first value and the fourth variable were preserved with respect to how these dynamics will usually go. And then in this DAE architecture, we also have a transition trial here. And the transition trial is essentially learning how to factorize the distribution of the latent space of M2 plus 1, given the latent space of MT, and the intervention target. How to factorize that based on the different cases of the variables. And so the way this was factorized was by learning an assignment function side. And so here is a bit of a kind of a green on this assignment function. And the idea here is that because we wanted to have the dimensional causal factor, for example, we wanted to have a position causal factor which could have the X, Y, and Z components go together. We needed to learn size, assign the different variables to the different causal variables. And then we also have another assignment. So we have 0, which would assign the different variables that would not be related to any of the causal factors. So this were so then this is very technical, especially for maybe this audience, but it's essentially we have a set of assumptions And under some of these assumptions, for example, we observe the intervention targets, each intervention target is not the function of the other, or the intervention target affects the normal component, or that there is enough intervention. Under some of these assumptions, we can prove and guarantee that if we maximize both the likelihood of T plus 1 given T and the intervention is target range T plus 1, so this is the image of an example given image of the biggest vector and the intervention target. And we also maximize the information content of the standard variable set and 0, given the biggest value that is the variable. Then we can identify the value variables 1, 2, etc. This is the case, up to invertible component classification. So we're able to do that with them. Also without limitations, because we have a lot of information in the intervention value. So this is the use. So this kind of shows that from an image, we're able to probably reduce the number of the value under the assumption. We had also other results in which if some of these assumptions were wrong, we wouldn't be able to identify separately or if they have a variable, but then maybe we're able to identify blocks with them. So this was some of the ideas. And so just to give you an idea of how this works, so Philip had actually recommended form, calling this interventional form. So here is an imagery form assigned for T, assigned for T plus 1. And we also have a causal graphic form, which can make sense. So we have the pattern on the left and cause the position of the ball X at a certain time step, future time step. Similarly, the pattern on the right can also cause the position of the ball at a certain time step, etc. Then the idea was from these images and the intervention targets, we're able to learn the latent variables and these graphs quite well. And so this is the way to visualize how well we will learn it. So these are the truth of the factors in the bottom. And on the y-axis, we have the latent dimension. So for example, here you see how correlated the velocity and the direction of a ball that we reconstructed is with the true velocity and direction of the ball. And as you can see, it's almost correlated up to 1. And this one is not correlated with anything else. So this diagonal structure means that we're able to disentangle the different components quite well. And so for the spore, we did an interventionist, so it was assigned these values. So this is to give you an idea of how the results work. So we tried also a different setting. So we tried also the causal identification network that people use for causal representation learning, specifically the temporal causal identification network. And so we have essentially the benchmark is very simple, especially for the super simple. So we have different shapes, for example, people, and these shapes have columns, we have a certain orientation, space, distribution, and then we have the background, which has the color, and then we have a spotlight in a position, which has a certain orientation and a certain orientation. And what we want to do is, we want from an image to recover all of these different values. And these different variables, they kind of cause each other in the media in some specific way. And so when we were learning these variables, we also tried to then compose different types of variables. So what we're doing is from image 1, we were taking, for example, the shape of the zipper. From image 2, we were taking, for example, the color of the cloud. And then we were trying to compose the latent representations together to see how composable they are. And so this is an example of trying to compose them when we know it's boundary. So here we have a people, which is in the same color as image 2. But the spotlight is in the same position as image 1 and in the same object as image 1. So this is the ground truth and this is boundary prediction. And this is a similar setting in which this is the ground truth, it's composing different attributes of the object, and this is boundary prediction. And if you can see, they look quite similar. So essentially, we learn something in some ways so well that we're able to create the images in the landscape. So this was something we did in the history paper. Then we tried to extend it also to everything we do in the back. So we have an unfolding paper, which is again the back. And there was an example of, for example, something like pinball, in which we have an instantaneous effect. Those who see the ball getting kicked. So the ball is going down, and here it's going up after it's being hit by the pinball. So that's an instantaneous effect. And so we also did an mechanism to do that. under more assumptions, and you can see. And then we kind of realized that there were some pros and some cons to our methods. So one of the pros we had is that we were able to model multidimensional causal variables. We were able to not have any parametric assumption or graphical assumption. We were able also to do spontaneous effects, and we were able to come with an identifiability of the component one image. But we needed these extra labels and having the intervention assumption, which seems to be a pretty strong assumption. And we also needed sufficiently diverse dimensional data. So we didn't really focus on the first one, but we focused on the intervention target. And so we wanted to get rid of this assumption. And so we proposed the different methods to fix it. And in this method, which we applied in the RTO environment, for example, we can have an observation, an image times dimension, an image and then B. But now we don't have an intervention target, we just have an action. So in the AI tutor, you click on different things in an image. So the action is the X and Y distribution of relation. So the action, we don't necessarily know it's semantic. It's just a variable. And then we try to learn the semantic of the action in terms of the intervention vectors on the different objects. And so this was what we were studying, repeated method 2. And then we have a bit more complicated theoretical graphing, and I'm happy to help if you're interested. But generally, the idea was that we have an action where you know what actually is the specific interaction variable. One of the things we needed to assume in order to prove identifiability in our setting was that we assumed that we have binary interaction. So this means that whenever an agent interacts with a variable, we will track the interaction by a binary variable, which means that, for example, if we have a microwave, we have an observational state of the microwave in which there is no interaction, and an interaction state in the microwave will be interacting with which is unavailable. So this was one of the assumptions we needed. The other assumption was a bit of a generalization of the fact that we don't have deterministic relations between these I variables that we were learning. So in this case, each variable had to have some kind of distinct production pattern. It was an assumption on how was the different actions, production have to do interesting enough. So all of these assumptions, plus some other more technical assumptions, allow us to prove that we are able to identify all of the variables of the permutation and the transformation. So this is the theory. You know, the theory is interesting, it's important, but very often the theory doesn't hold. So what we also did is we tried it also in simulators. So we tried in causal world and AI outdoor. And in both of these simulators, actually, especially in outdoor, a lot of the assumptions that we have really hold. But despite not holding fully, it seems to be that empirically we still get quite a bit done. So in the first environment, they were just creating their robots manipulating objects, and that's what the variables were interested in, were the positions of the objects, the pictures, the colors, and other things like that. And the actions that we do was the kind of three motor information and dimensional action. So this is the setting here. And in the kitchen environment, we have different states of the different objects in the kitchen. And the action was just clicking and interacting with the different objects. And so I'm going to show an example of the second environment, which is a bit more interesting. So this is like kind of empirically how it looks like our archmetrics, our correlation metrics. So on the bottom, we have the graph with the variables. For example, this one here are the different folds from the image. And on the y-axis, we have the margin learned. For example, for the stones, we have a 59-degree angle view, similarly for the software. But for some others of the variables, for example, the state of the end and the state of the date, they're still quite untargeted because some of the assumptions we have left and not reasonable. But still, it looks quite good and much better than the other methods. So just to give you an idea also, what are we learning? When we're learning this mapping from the actions to the interaction variable. So here is an image, and here the different colors are representing where would you click if you were clicking on this image, what causal variable will you affect. So here we have an image in which you have, this is the cabinet. If you click on anywhere here, it would affect the cabinet. Here we have an X. If you click on X, you will affect the X. Here you have the door of the microwave. If you click on it, you affect the door. And just to be clear, this interaction map changes across images. It goes on the word you click depends all the time on the base of the image for the effect that you have. And here you can see it's very nice. We're able to nicely read on the different borders and those. So I'm going to conclude. So I hope that despite the very theoretical nature of my job, you've got a bit of an idea about Causal Representation Learning and how it is very exciting and allows us to start with the semantics from images, sometimes also useful for the ideas, given that the functions full. We showed that we can work on realistic images or simulators in temporal settings with the different methods that I told you about. Specifically BISCUIT, which overcomes one of the limitations we had before for known intervention targets. But obviously, there is still a lot of limitations and future work. So this area is quite open. So you guys are interested. There is obviously a gap between the theory and the real data. And also, one of the questions, and I think this is a bit of a leitmotif workshop, is okay, you can do that, but what is your future for? So what are downstream tasks for your project? And I think a lot of the talks already provided some answers, but I think there is still quite some work to be able to justify the creating complicated work in terms of already applying it together. So, okay, so thank you.
Thanks a lot for the
Yeah. Yeah. Very first. So information is the structure of the graph. So there is no background knowledge in the structure of the graph. The background knowledge is mostly on the number of the variables. And in this case, just for simplicity, we can mention the variable. And I think the sensitive actually belongs to the identities of the variables. But when we have this case, we only have known identities, so we just history don't depend on knowledge there. Yeah, yes. But the novelty is a bit, so the difficulty is not really learning the graphs, which were quite good in the causality community as inspiring applied standards. But the difficulty was really how do you different standards about this? So this is the more
yeah, so maybe we could just some reports. What are the binaries and interactions that you use? Because we need to wait for some for annotations of the variables.
Yeah.
And a little bit with the project in terms of
maybe this should be the question. If anybody has between the just in case, the question was actually what is the limitation of having a binary instruction, right? Or what is the limitation?
What are the
What are the binary instructions? Okay, so the binary instructions from the validation perspective are the you have each causal variable has a structure, so it has a mechanism of how it depends on the individual instance. And the idea here of the binary instruction is that you can switch between two mechanisms for each causal variable. So in this case, for example, in the microwave, we have one observation distribution, which is doing nothing in this case, another one which we interact with it, and then we can change the space. They basically modulate the functions between them. So there's essentially two functions, two ways of how the problem we have to take the variable and the one. Okay.
And we can do those two?
Yeah.
And you know that the behavior happens. But
yes.
Okay. But you don't know which variable to start to do.
So you know that if the change happens, it has to be one of the binary instructions. And that's what we learn when you learn this binary vector, which is now the
So you know that something happens.
Yes. Well, you know there is an action, so you know something happens, but you don't, I mean, it could be also multiple actions, multiple objects at the same time. So this is the case of the previous view that was done before. And so one thing that we use for the demo, for the demo, is usually in this environment, we can also do nothing at a time. But it shows you can for decisions and data. So now, once you have trained this environment, now you can create an image. And from the image, you can place it around, and it kind of evolves as you were kind of in the studio, because we have reverse engineering simulators. That's what the whole idea is.
Other questions? So that's, thanks, Sara.